The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him, and the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man," and then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place, so that when the host comes to you, he may say, "My friend, move up here to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who had invited him, "When you hold a lunch or dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or sisters or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors, in case they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Blessed indeed will you be because of their inability to repay you. For you will be repaid in the resurrection of the righteous." The Gospel of the Lord.
Speaking with couples who are preparing to get married, one of the things that they have told me very frequently, probably the most common thing that they've said, is one of the most difficult parts of preparations is the seating chart at the reception. Who's sitting with who? Who's sitting at which table? How do we do this? Because you know there will be complaints. And I can tell you, just in my experience over many years, I remember I wasn't even at the wedding, but it was a relative's wedding, and I heard later, perhaps at the next wedding or something, "Yeah, at so-and-so's wedding, we had to sit by the back door. And we're like relatives. What were they thinking? They put us way back there." And other people, we do fundraising events, fundraising dinners, and I've heard more than once, "Father, next year, don't put us back by the kitchen, please. Put us up closer." And we're trying to figure out who's going to sit with who gets along with who doesn't get along with who sits up front, who sits in the back. I just remember one person who said to me, "Father, put me back by the bathroom, because then when I get up to go to the bathroom, people won't watch me. If I'm sitting up front, everybody watches. There, he's going to the bathroom again." It's a lot about what Jesus talks about in the gospel. It's about humility. Don't think that you deserve, whoever you may be, to sit up at the front of the wedding again. That's up to the bride and the groom and their families to decide. Sit in the back. I like sitting in the back. Sit in the back, and then if they decide to move you up, they can move you up. But who are we to think this is what we deserve? The virtue of humility is probably one of the most difficult ones to understand and to obtain or try to obtain, because if you walk around thinking that you're humble, then you're not humble. And it's not the fact of trying to debase yourself or make yourself not good or make you think of not well about yourself. That's not what being humble is at all. Being humble is realizing that you don't necessarily deserve, even if you're given the best gift to the bride and groom, that doesn't mean that you deserve to sit up front. Even if you've done the most for such an organization and they're having a special dinner. Doesn't mean that you deserve. God tells us, God gives us what we deserve, and God understands what we deserve. But we shouldn't be the ones who say, this is what we deserve. At the end of the gospel, Jesus goes on to talk about people who you invite. You invite people to a wedding or to a party or whatever, many times because you've been invited to theirs. And so you have to reciprocate. Jesus says that's not the way necessarily to do it, even though in our society we probably have to do it. But he says, go out to the highways and the byways and bring in the poor and the homeless and the people who are blind and lame. Those are the ones you should be inviting. I've told you this many, many times. And I know the first time I told you this was the weekend before Labor Day. 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So you're having a barbecue this coming weekend? Invite your friends. And then go downtown and bring a bunch of people from there as well. I dare you. I dare you even to think about it. And everybody's like shuddering. I can't do that. That's what Jesus tells us to do. And certainly there will be dangers involved. There's certainly, you have to be careful. But there's ways of doing it. Invite the people that perhaps you think don't deserve to be invited. Because those are the ones who deserve the most to be invited.